Hi all, Demonick Angel here again, and I know I was going to talk about hypnosis, but I thought I'd do something a little bit different today because the topic really struck me. It was just something I thought about while I was just daydreaming, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So today we will talk about what happens to people after they die if they commit suicide. And obviously there's a lot of different answers, just like when people die from other means besides suicide. But how does that affect people? How does that affect a soul, really? So I'm going to try to answer that as best as I can, and I hope that that gives you guys a little bit of insight. So I've personally struggled with depression and a lot of thoughts, but from all of my experience with the paranormal, I know that suicide would not be the answer because of, yes, I believe in karma and reincarnation, but more specifically the dualistic nature of the universe, so that the universe is out there as a whole. It's always going to need to express itself individually through us, and that has a tendency, it's going to happen again and again and again. So it just doesn't solve your problem. Committing suicide, you will be faced with whatever you think you're going to get away from, and sometimes though it does complicate the afterlife. It really puts a lot of trauma on the person. But in some of my personal experiences in dealing with the souls of people, the ghosts of people who have committed suicide, and talking with them and having their experiences, I mean, as being an intuitive like me, I think I know what it's like to die 1,000 deaths, really. And I think what I've learned from that is it just causes a lot of pain. It causes people to be confused. So a lot of times when people commit suicide, and they think that's it and they've taken care of their problems, but it hasn't. The attachments and the pain are all still there. And so now, they have these regrets and unfinished business, which is what creates all that, attracts that, and now they aren't alive to fix it. And that's really what that comes down to. And at some point, that's the good news, that at some point all this will resolve itself. Sometimes it may take thousands of years even, because ghosts are not affected by time like we are. It's more like they're off in their own world, so they're affected by their own personal development, not how much time has passed. And at some point they will come to terms with what has happened, which would be forgiving themselves and whatever they have to do for that, and then they go to the light or source, the divine, so to speak, and the healing process of that life is complete. But there's no eternal hell, where there's no eternal hell where somebody suffers forever. The only thing that is forever is change, and so people will go through that, and some more than others, but yes, especially people who commit suicide, they seem to get really stuck in these stages, or even, you know, they fragment. I've seen people's psyches, and so they're just sort of shadows of ghosts, and, you know, fragmented parts of a person. And it just takes a lot longer. It complicates the death process. I think death is a transitory phase, and it's very fragile. And it's supposed to be rest and introspection of a life that has just happened, but it can really be confusing for some people. So, you know, even though you would say, like, why would people who commit suicide be confused that they're dead? But, you know, a lot of suicide is spur of the moment, and, you know, their will, or what they have to do would be, you know, have attachments to family members, or want to say goodbye one last time. It confuses them and makes them think that they're still alive, and that's when usually I see on the astral plane, these are ghosts who look dead, you know, guy with a gunshot wound, you know, very visible, not aware that he's dead. You know, it's just like they're stuck, and trauma can create this too, not just suicide. And it takes a lot of love to move that on, you know. And of course, people can inadvertently create attachments. If somebody has committed suicide and they really just wanted to move on from this whole life, but people keep wanting, desiring so bad for them to be alive again, that it traps them back here, and they can't move on because you can't move on. So yeah, in my experience, it does complicate things a little bit more, but we all make mistakes on our road to individuation, of course, and it's, you know, you're not a bad person, or if someone you know has committed suicide, at some point in one of our lives we've made, you know, our worst mistakes. And the good news is we can find each other again in different lives, different, you know, our different friendships. I mean, and we'll face a lot of the same challenges with a lot of the same people. And so, you know, there will be another time, and you know, if a person commits suicide and they were looking for their identity, you know, they'll have that chance to find themselves again. It's the nature of life and death, or existence and non-existence, so to say. And so we can't measure our lives as different from theirs, because, you know, in that moment, it's just hard. You can't be another person, even if you're psychic. You can't judge that. You know you're not them. And that's one of the things you have to learn if you're going to do magic or be doing anything with the dead. You have to leave their pain away from you. Or I take hot baths after I do magic or work with the dead. so that I can sever any of that energy, cleanse that energy, I should say. And I just don't want, I don't want death around me when I'm going to be just relaxing at home most of the time. I mean, sometimes, but you know, you've got to sever that connection of judgment and just know that we're all the same. We're all trying to look for our own individuation, and sometimes people either mistakenly think that they can, you know, they can kill themselves there, and that's it, and they'll never have to face their problem, you know. But that's not how it is. It's all going to be faced again. You'll work it out. And so, you know, no matter how you die, there's all that and the circle of life and everything. Great. So yeah, I guess this would be my personal and big reason. Hey, don't commit suicide. You're going to have to face your problems, your individuation, your struggles, and it's not going to go away if you kill yourself. You're going to have to face yourself again and again, because you're creating your own realities. It's influencing, your decisions are influencing all your different lifetimes, and obviously you want to make that the best, the easiest as possible. But if you know somebody who's committed suicide, or you're struggling with that, I hope you can take comfort in knowing that we're all the same. It is true. And even if people, you know, are in that pain, you can help them if they're still having attachments. You can forgive. You can find that moment in yourself and think, well, what would I, you know, that moment where you've wanted to maybe kill yourself but you didn't, and really think of that moment when you think of that person, and it can transmute that energy and set them free. So, you know, work on the big lessons of life that we all already know. Love one another, and that love does transcend boundaries. And so you can be close to people. I mean, you can give them a choice too. You can talk to your relatives that have committed suicide, and just tell them that, you know, when they're ready to move on, they can move on, so that it's known to them that they don't have to stay. And then you end up with a much healthier relationship if they stay on as your sort of guardians, or, you know, to protect you. Then that's a healthy relationship, and that's by choice. And you always want that to be the case. You don't want it to be an inadvertent attachment so much. So, you know, just don't, I mean, spare yourself the trouble, and try and know that this too shall pass, but you've got to confront your problems, so you might as well do them now. And even if you think it would be better because you would be prettier or something in your next life, or wealthier, that's not the point. Can you face the challenges that you are being presented with now? And you know, could you be your own hero in this lifetime? Can you really improve the world and all that good stuff? So I really say that. I mean, and I say that because of all the ghosts that I've met through these last long years of being into the paranormal. I've seen a lot of stuff, and that's the conclusion. It just does complicate that very much. So, but once again, there's always love. I do believe in all that, and love can heal anything. And don't worry so much about it. Well, I know that was a little different, but I really enjoyed it. It was just sort of one of those topics I was thinking about today when I was just daydreaming and stuff, so it was great. I actually liked it, the spontaneous stuff. Tomorrow, though, we'll be talking about hypnosis still, so please stay tuned for that. Like and subscribe. I can't believe how much this channel is growing, you guys. I feel the love. Thank you so much. And please go check out my Patreon page. I also have exclusive videos on there, bonus videos that you'll get if you become my patron for only $1 a month. And if that's something you're interested in and you want to get even more content that can really help you out, then that's where you need to go. Otherwise, stay tuned, guys, and we'll stick with the schedule and do hypnosis next. I hope I really tried to make that as a respectful of an answer as I could. I mean, all the respect in the world, and I hope I made that pretty evident. So, this is Demonick Angel signing off for tonight, guys.